And this is what we know thus far in day 10 of the federal trial against Sean Diddy Combs. Keep in mind, testifying today is Capricorn Clark, former employee of Combs. One day in December 2011, Combs showed up at Clark's home banging on her door. According to Clark, she could see through the peephole that Combs' pants were split up the inseam from the knee upward, exposing his underwear. When she opened the door, Clark saw that he was holding a gun and was furious. Combs, entering her home, said, "Why didn't you tell me?" and asked her about Kid Cudi. Clark testified that Combs, still holding the gun, told her, and I quote, "Get dressed, we're going to kill him." When she tried to protest, Combs said, and I quote, "I don't give a fuck what you want to do. Go get dressed." Clark said she was afraid, and this was the first time Combs had been to her home in Los Angeles. Combs said, Clark said Combs was livid, furious, mad at me. She said, and I quote, "I had never seen him with a weapon, and I had never seen him making me do something like this." Clark said that she attempted to she accepted the director of marketing position for Sean John's woman line because she didn't have to work directly with him. She said, and I quote, "I didn't want the close proximity in his personal orbit like that." She also stated, she also gave more details about what happened after Combs showed up at her home in December 2011. She said that she and Combs got into the backseat of a car that one of his security guards was driving. There was a gun in Combs' lap. According to her testimony, they drove to Kid Cudi's house where Combs and the security guard entered the home. Clark said she stayed in the car and called Ventura, Combs' former girlfriend, who was then dating Kid Cudi at the time, on a burner phone. She testified that she told Ventura that Combs had come to her house with a gun and then got to Kid Cudi's house to kill him. She said she then changed Ventura's contact name in the phone to the name Stormy so Combs wouldn't know she called Ventura. She said she could hear someone yelling, "He's in my house," in the background when they were on the phone, and Ventura told her that she was with Kid Cudi. Capricorn Clark warned Cassie that Kid Cudi shouldn't confront Combs. Clark testified that she told Ventura, and I quote, "Cassie, stop him. He's going to come get himself killed." Ventura said she couldn't stop him. Clark testified she understood Kid Cudi was on his way to the house. When Combs got back in the car, he asked who Clark had been talking to. He called Ventura's burner phone, which was the last record in Clark's call log. Combs, furious, said, "Bitch, what the fuck is this number?" A short time later, Kid Cudi pulled up next to Combs' Escalade outside his home and then accelerated away. Combs' vehicle followed in pursuit. It felt like forever, but couldn't have been longer than a minute, Clark testified about the pursuit. She said Combs and his security guard went to a nearby nightclub. Combs directed Clark to call Ventura and tell her that he has me and he's not going to let me go until I come get her. On the phone, Ventura responded that Clark should come get her. Combs then said she and Ventura needed to convince Kid Cudi to not tell the police that Combs was involved in the break-in at Kid Cudi's home. Combs told her, "If you guys don't convince him of that, I'll kill all of you." We will continue with more updates in part 2 that will be linked in the comments. Part 2. Clark said that after Combs allegedly broke into Kid Cudi's home, she approached Ventura, who was still with Kid Cudi. She told them, "If you tell on him, he's going to hurt us all." According to Clark, Ventura responded by asking her, "Do you really think he will?" Clark said Ventura then went with Clark to Combs' LA rental home. Combs in a robe and underwear and was in a robe and underwear and immediately began kicking Cassie. But y'all still questioning why that woman stayed so long? Outside of being groomed, outside of him being in charge of her financials. When she tried to leave, this is the shit that he pulled. I'm gonna need y'all to be so fucking for real. Clark said she and a security guard stood by as Combs repeatedly kicked Ventura. Clark said Combs threatened to hurt her too if she tried to stop him from hurting Ventura. Clark said she left after the security guard told her to leave and Ventura was still on the ground while Combs continued to kick her. Clark said that she called Ventura's mom, Regina Ventura, as she left the property. Please help her. I can't call the police, but you can, Clark recalled telling Ventura's mother. Regina Ventura said she would handle it and hung up, according to Clark. The jury saw an email Ventura sent Clark and her mother on December 23, 2011, under the alias Veronica Bang, referencing the threats from Combs to Ventura and Kid Cudi. Clark testified that she can't remember if she responded to the email. After the events of late 2011, Combs would angrily ask Clark why she didn't tell him about Ventura's brief relationship with Kid Cudi, because it wasn't none of his fucking business and that wasn't her job. One time, Combs told her, and I quote, I should kill you bitches, and I should cut her face off. You're not a scary individual at all. Yeah, it sounds like somebody who can take a breakup well. Not. Clark estimates Combs threatened her about 50 times between December 2011 and the following summer. Some of y'all don't know about them flowers in the attic cookies. It shows. Allegedly. In the December 2011 incident, Combs told Clark that she couldn't be friends with Ventura. They could only see each other for work. I'm finding it. Clark testified that her relationship with Ventura changed after that. Clark said that in early 2012, she informed someone in human resources and Harvey Pierre, the former president of Bad Boy Records, about the kidnapping incident and how Combs wanted to kill Kid Cudi and beat Ventura. Pierre just told her, that's crazy, but it's going to be okay. Clark said she was fired in August 2012. She said she was still being sent work while she was on vacation, and she told an HR employee that Combs was mad at her because she didn't tell him his girlfriend was cheating on him. They weren't girlfriend, boyfriend, that wasn't cheating. I need y'all to use the right verbiage in this testimony. She was terminated shortly after, she said, accused of improperly taking vacation. How the fuck you... What the fuck? What? This man think he white as fuck. He does. He looking in the mirror, looking at all the footage of his blackety black ass. He acting like he is the whitest of the white men. What in the slave trade? You know what? Clark said that after she was terminated, Combs told her, and I quote, that I would never work again, that he would show me that all these people weren't my friends, that he would make me kill myself. Clark testified that she received a settlement through Combs' attorney over wrongful termination allegations in the fall of 2012. She did not disclose the amount on the stand. Once again, more in part 3. That will be linked in the comments. Now, from last update to this, well, from part 2 to here, just to let you know, the court did take a short break, and then defense attorney Mark Agnifilo began cross-examination of Capricorn Clark. Capricorn Clark testified that she retained attorneys in 2023 after Cassie Ventura filed her lawsuit against Combs. The lawsuit traumatized Clark, according to her testimony. Clark met with attorneys for Combs in April 2024, and they spoke about the possibility of her working for one of Combs' companies again. She said she wanted her life back. Clark never heard from Combs' attorneys after that. Clark testified that she hasn't spoken to Ventura since 2018. Though she was fired in 2012, Capricorn Clark returned to work for Combs as Cassie Ventura's creative director in 2016, per her testimony. Clark hadn't been able to find other work, and she wanted to try to get her life back. Clark reported to Combs, and he approved all of Ventura's projects. Clark testified she noticed an increase in Ventura's drug use during this time. Clark left the position in 2018, and that was the last time she worked for Ventura, per her testimony. Clark said that arson investigators reached out to her in 2012 asking her to make a statement about the arson incident involving Kid Cudi's vehicle. Clark said she hung up the phone and did not provide a statement. I wanted this whole thing to be over, was her testimony. Clark added that she never discussed an arson incident including Cudi with Combs. Keep in mind that Cudi had testified last week that one morning in January 2012, his dog watcher called him from his home to tell him that his car was on fire. Looking at photos, Cuddy explained that it looked like the top of his Porsche was cut open and that there was a Molotov cocktail put in it, causing further damage that couldn't be salvaged. And the cross-examination began. Mark Agnifilo began by confirming Capricorn Clark, the former employee of Combs, that he and her had never met before. Agnifilo, Tenny Garagos, and another attorney for Combs, Jonathan Davis, met with Clark, who brought an attorney and a friend with her on April 10, 2024. Agnifilo asked Clark to confirm that she told the attorneys at the meeting that Combs wouldn't be in this mess if he had kept her around. She acknowledged she probably said something like that as they discussed the possibility of her returning to work for him as his chief of staff. This is someone who's had her blacklisted from her career field. She also told the lawyers at the meeting that Ventura wasn't good for Combs. This woman wasn't able to get work. So I believe she was saying any and everything to get some type of income. Whatever their settlement was, it wasn't for live on forever money. The attorney who accompanied Clark to the meeting was Brian Friedman, the well-known entertainment lawyer representing Justin Baldoni in ongoing litigation with Blake Lively. 3 former Combs assistants have taken the stand so far. Keep that in mind, and none of them really have anything good to say, but they do try to straddle the fence and backtrack a little bit, whether with the attorneys or on the stand, which shows to me, that he's a very scary dude. Clark texted Cobbs in 2021 admitting a past crush, but doesn't recall the details. Texted Combs, in 2021 admitting a past crush, but doesn't recall details or his response. And the court is now at a lunch break until 1 p.m. Eastern. Once any more updates come in after lunch, I will bring them to you. But as always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section.